actually, we're going to do a lot of time reading this guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. But we worked these for a long time since she was a little girl, to you guys. And she actually wants us to mark her, she didn't mind, she left the way she came back one day or whatnot. But, so she's going to speak to you guys, and guys, see, you want to just go back. Okay? No problem.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So that is so funny because I work at an Islamic school in Memphis, Tennessee, and the way you guys responded was the same exact way my students do. So I think it's like a worldwide thing at Islamic schools. I love it. So first off, just thank you for allowing me to be here this morning and speak to you all. A bunch of beautiful faces, mashallah. Thank you to Brother Sufu for inviting me here. I'm here on break, so I had a free morning, and I was like, let me come to Medina Academy, right? So I had a few cousins who actually came to this school many years ago, and I don't think it was here though. I forget, was it ever at the mosque? Okay, yeah, that's what I remember. We used to pick them up sometimes. So, what you guys just watched was a trailer to a documentary that was being filmed on me for about 2 years now. And this film was, these two random guys emailed me and they said, you know, we'd love to follow your story. So I said, okay, you know, why not? I didn't think my story was as interesting until now when you watch it, and when you live your own story, it's kind of just your own life, right? But when other people live it, I guess some people look at it in a different way. So I'm going to just explain to you guys. Brother Sufu was able to give you guys a short biography, but I started playing basketball at the age of 4 years old. All of my siblings played, so I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers, and pretty much all of them played with the exception of maybe 2. So for me, basketball was pretty innate. Innate meaning, who knows what innate means? Innate. Who can guess? One of my high school girls or middle school girls, right? What's innate? Yeah, okay, natural. So it was a natural ability, right? Alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with the talent to play basketball. So I played basketball with boys teams all the way up until I was probably 12 years old. Boys back when I was a little younger, when I was your age, I'm not that old, but back then, boys were very, very physical. Boys were very competitive. Sometimes the boys wouldn't pass me the ball because they thought they knew that I was a little better than them. You know how boys get, right? Yeah, they don't like when girls are better than them. But I played basketball, and that's what I love to do. Who knows the term ball is life? When people say, man, ball is life. Yeah, raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's a hashtag, ball is life. For me, literally, I lived, I breathed, I slept basketball. I played other sports, but basketball was my favorite. So I was homeschooled all the way up until I was 8th grade. And then when I got to 8th grade, my Ummi and my Abu thought it was time for me to go to school. So back in Springfield, Massachusetts, we didn't have an Islamic school. And back then, Medina Academy was a little smaller at the time. So I went to a charter school, and it was a public school. And I was, of course, the only Muslim pretty much in the school, I believe. When I first started wearing hijab, I was a freshman in high school. So I went a year without hijab, and then when the time came, I started wearing hijab the next year. And when I tell you, it was the hardest thing I ever had to do in life. That's how I felt at the time. Because I was going to be different. And we all know, well, you guys go to an Islamic school, and wallahi, when I say this is the most beautiful thing, to be in an Islamic school, I would have loved to be in an Islamic school when I think back, because in some ways, it would have been so much easier. Being around Muslims, like when you go to an Islamic school, you feel at home, you feel at peace, because everybody looks like you. You can go pray in the hallway and nobody's gonna walk in front of you, right? That's the kind of respect that you have in an Islamic school. For me, it was a struggle because I went to school every day with non-Muslims. And when you are around non-Muslims, you start to kind of copy you start to do what they do. And it's hard to hold on to your Islam. So for a while, it was very hard to try to fit in. And of course, you know, Allah made us different for a reason. We don't fit in. But I started wearing hijab, and it was a struggle, but the only place where I felt comfortable was when I played basketball. So when I stepped on the court, I completely forgot about people looking at me like I was crazy or an alien. I would step on the court, and my main goal was to win a basketball game. So when people think, oh, basketball is just a sport, you just play it. No, for me, it helped me stay grounded in Islam. Because sometimes I think without it, I don't know, I would have, who knows, Allah knows best. Maybe I would have not chose to wear hijab, or maybe, you know, I would have struggled in a lot of different ways. But basketball kept me grounded. And I was able to play through high school, like Brother Sufu mentioned and on the video. I broke Rebecca Lobo's scoring record. Who knows who Rebecca Lobo is? Okay, a few hands, awesome. A few hands. So she's very famous. She's a very famous basketball player. She's really good. And I was able to break her record. And because I was seen as one of the first Muslim girls to play cover in basketball, I was recruited by a lot of Division I colleges. Who knows what a Division I school is? We have one right in Connecticut. Name it. UConn. Great. UConn is probably like the best. I didn't get recruited by them. However, the coach did watch me play. I had my hopes up a little bit. But yes, so I got recruited by some Division I colleges, and I ended up choosing to go to University of Memphis. And I got a full scholarship. Who knows what a full scholarship is? It means when they pay for you. So alhamdulillah, I was blessed to get a full scholarship, and literally my parents paid no money for school. Not even a penny. Actually, the school gave me money for me to maybe buy soap, just essential things for me to live, food. And so that, because I was talented in something, and because I stuck to what I felt like I loved, and it could be anything, whether it's a sport, an art, education, you can be smart and get plenty of scholarships, and you have to stick with it, right? So I stuck with something that I thought I loved, and I knew I loved, and I was good at it. So I went through college, and then I reached a point where I could make it to pro basketball. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I had an agent, and an agent is a person who is the middleman between you and a professional team. So one day, the agent, I think she called me, and she says, Bilquis, FIBA, which is the basketball federation over in Europe. Who knows what FIFA is? FIFA is the what? For who? Soccer, right? So FIBA is the basketball version. So she says they have a rule saying that you can only wear certain headgear. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, people always say that you can't wear certain things, but I'm like, just tell them I'm Muslim and we'll keep on going. And so we emailed the league and we say, you know, that she's Muslim and I have to wear hijab, I have to cover my arms and legs while I play. And they wrote back saying, well, we want to keep the game of basketball religiously neutral. Who knows what neutral means? What's neutral? Huh? No? Who else? Who knows what neutral? Okay, normal. Yeah, normal. Who has another word?
Fair. Fair.
Fair. The same. Good job. The same. So, they wanted everybody on the basketball court to look alike. Could I have looked alike?
No.
No, right? All right, so we said, well, that doesn't really make sense because people who have tattoos of scriptures and crosses and maybe even tattoos of Prophet Isa on their arms, have you guys seen stuff like that? Professional basketball players or athletes? I said, well, if that's the case, that's religious freedom. They should have to cover that up when they play. So when I emailed that back to them, and they knew they didn't really have a leg to stand on because it made sense, they wrote back saying, well, you can hurt somebody by wearing your scarf. So, have you ever hurt somebody by wearing your scarf? No, right? It's a piece of material. How does that even make sense? So, we all know that, what was the real reason? Because what? Because I was Muslim, right? Discrimination. So, the underlying reason for their whole Their whole rule is because it's discrimination, and the rule still stands today. The rule still stands today. So at that point in my life, I went from being this Muslim hijabi basketball player to just being Muslim. So basketball was taken away from me, and it was something near and dear to my heart. Near and dear. When I tell you, I breathed it, I breathed it. And when it was taken away, I had to figure out who I was. At the end of the video, I said, I don't know who I am without basketball, right? So I had to check myself. And at that point, Allah took something away from me to better myself in so many different ways. Do I miss basketball? Yes, I miss it so much. But was I being a good Muslim? So for a while I had this image and it was all nice. I was always in the news, or I was always on social media. People liked all my pictures, and it was all this fancy famous stuff, right? So I felt like, after now I look back, I was kind of using that image, Muslim hijabi basketball player. I was using it. But was I being a good Muslim? And Allah knew that maybe I could have been better in a lot of different ways. And it was very true. And at that point, when I didn't have basketball, I had to figure out, wow, I didn't feel Islam in my heart. I didn't feel it. And I didn't feel it because I took advantage of being Muslim. So who in this room was born a Muslim? No, actually, who converted to Islam? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Any of the students? My father, 9. Brother Sufu, 10. Okay. Any students? Were any students converted? Any students convert to Islam?
We actually did have a student who did convert.
Okay. So I bring this up because the beauty of people who convert. It's okay. The beauty of